What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be doing a quick breakdown of the Ghost Perk in Black Ops 7, and more importantly, we're going to be looking at an apparent bug with the Ghost Perk. This is something a lot of people have been coming to me about, mentioning that it appears their Ghost Perk isn't working in-game, and I want to show at least one potential cause of this situation where Ghost is apparently not working. So with this perk, it works as we would normally expect in a Treyarch Call of Duty game. It makes it so you are undetectable by enemy scout pulse and UAV when moving, planting, defusing, or controlling score streaks, and you're also undetectable by proximity alarm. And it turns out the thresholds for everything appear to be identical to Black Ops 6. Again, no surprises there. It was a previous game. They're sort of just building off of that, and there was no issue with how the Ghost Perk worked in that game. So if anything, I would have been more surprised if something did change here. And what this means is you just barely have to be moving to immediately activate Ghost. And if you want to see if Ghost is active, just look at your arrow on the minimap. If it's faded away, Ghost is active. If it's bright yellow, Ghost is inactive. And in this game, all it takes is the smallest wiggle of your character to activate Ghost. There doesn't appear to be a high movement speed threshold or anything. You literally just need to move, period. And then when you stop, it takes a total of 2 seconds before Ghost reactivates again. So it's fairly forgiving in that sense if you want to stop and grab a reload, but even then, you can just wiggle your character model back and forth a little bit and Ghost will stay active the entire time. So that's the basics, and again, not surprisingly, it's exactly the same as Black Ops 6 there. Also, you may be curious what happens against a harp when using Ghost. If you're not using the Scout combat specialty, that's a different story that we've already covered. But just using the Ghost perk itself, just like in Black Ops 6, instead of showing up as a real-time directional arrow if you're not using the Ghost perk or if you're standing still, the harp will still show you on the minimap, but it shows you as a fast sweeping dot. So they won't see your exact real-time location, but it will be updating regularly and they won't see what direction you're facing. Now let's get into the apparent bugs with Ghost. And the first thing I wanted to test was a bug early on in Black Ops 6. They did end up getting on top of this shortly after I pointed it out. But in Black Ops 6, early on, if the enemy had a scout pulse up, not a UAV, but a scout pulse, and you fired a suppressed weapon while using Ghost, you would show up as a red dot. And that's obviously not supposed to happen. If you're using Ghost and a suppressor, as long as you're moving, you should always be off the radar for anybody using a scout pulse, and that wasn't the case in Black Ops 6. Like I said, they fixed that, but since a lot of people were bringing up the fact that they felt Ghost was bugged in Black Ops 7, I thought I'd just retest this again, and it turns out this is still fixed. So this bug didn't reappear. You will be hidden from a scout pulse as long as you're moving, even when firing a suppressed weapon. But what about a UAV? Well, same story there. As expected, you're hidden properly as long as you're moving and firing a suppressed weapon. Obviously, an unsuppressed weapon will show you on the minimap though. So what's going on here? Why do people think this is bugged if it apparently is working as intended? Well, one thing that was also messed up in Black Ops 6, and I don't believe they ever got on top of this, so I do believe it carried over to Black Ops 7, is the Vigilance perk is bugged in some scenarios. For those that aren't aware, one of the benefits of using Vigilance is you get the little eye indicator that pops up near your minimap when you are visible to enemy players on their minimap. So if you're not using Ghost and they have a UAV in the air or a harp in the air, even if you are using Ghost, then this eye icon will appear just letting you know, hey, people can see you on the minimap right now. The problem with this in Black Ops 6 is it would show up even when you were hidden on the minimap. So when you were moving with Ghost and they called the UAV in against you, this eye icon would appear despite the fact that you didn't appear on their minimap at all at any point. So it was falsely telling you that you were showing up on the minimap, and therefore that wasn't a bug with the Ghost perk because that was working properly. It was a bug with the Vigilance perk. And based on my tests, that has carried over into Black Ops 7. As you can see here, the enemy calls a UAV in. I get that Vigilance icon that appears, and yet when looking at the enemy minimap, I'm not showing up on their minimap at all. So Ghost is working properly here. Vigilance isn't. And this means, just like in Black Ops 6, if you are using Vigilance, basically just ignore that eye icon. It doesn't work consistently, and therefore it can sometimes be misleading, and as a result, it just makes it not very important information to know because it doesn't work with any sort of consistency. So this is the first big reason that I think many people feel that Ghost is bugged. Another thing I saw pop up, and some people tagged me in this as well, is I've been seeing some people claim that Ghost isn't working when you first spawn in. So if an enemy has a UAV in the air, you die, and you press respawn, and you start sprinting right away off respawn, people are suggesting that you're actually showing up on the enemy's minimap because you spawn stationary, meaning you're spawning in potentially revealed to their UAV, And based on my testing, that's not the case. As long as you're moving straight off of spawn, it will keep you hidden. You're not going to show up as a dot, or at least you shouldn't be based on the results I found here. Now, outside of that, I was unable to find any sort of situation where Ghost is bugged out and not working properly, where you're showing up on the minimap when you shouldn't be showing up on the minimap. It does appear to be working properly in every case. That doesn't mean that there isn't perhaps a bug that I just haven't discovered yet, because I have seen a lot of complaints about this. However, I do suspect a couple things may be happening here. The first thing is I think people are just not really paying attention to footstep audio and the fact that enemies can hear them coming, and therefore that's why they're getting pre-aimed and pre-fired so much. Either that or with the more open matchmaking in Black Ops 7, I think for a lot of players at least, they're being exposed to much better players on average than they have been exposed to in recent years with the more strict SBMM. And as a result, they're just not used to players that are really good at understanding maps, routes, spawns, and timings off of spawns. This is a higher level skill set that you don't tend to see implemented by average to below average players, but when you play against very good players, you should expect that they know where you're going to be spawning when you spawn, at least roughly, and the most likely route that you're going to be taking to get back in the fight, and how long it's going to be taking you to get back to that fight. And as a result, good players, even against a properly working Ghost Perk and the Ninja Perk, they're able to fairly reliably expect where you're going to be coming from and when, so they can pre-aim in those situations as well. I think a lot of really good players and players that play a lot of ranked play, for instance, they're already well aware of this, they're used to this, and they even adjust their gameplay style to try to take routes that are less expected, or to mess with the timings a little bit by maybe taking a bit of a pause first, or to try to counter-predict where that enemy is going to post up in anticipation of them getting back in the fight. So if you are having issues with this and you just feel like you're constantly getting pre-aimed despite the fact that you're using Ghost and Ninja, my recommendation is to take a step back and just think, were you being very predictable in that case? Were you just trying to run straight back into the fight as efficiently as possible? Because if so, it's very likely that you're just being very predictable. And try to mix things up a little bit. And that's where we're going to leave this video. As far as I can tell, the Ghost Perk is working properly. The Vigilance Perk, on the other hand, don't trust that little eye icon. I mean, the Vigilance Perk is still a great perk outside of that. I just entirely ignore that eye icon that appears when using Vigilance. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. What are your thoughts on these results that I found today? Are you still convinced that there is some sort of a bug with the Ghost Perk? Or do you just now see that you've been tricked by the Vigilance Perk not working as intended? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.